Hello and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. I'm your host, Louis Carlin, and we are part of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. And this is the Impact Wrestling edition of the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. Great to be back this week to talk about Impact Wrestling. You can catch me on Twitter at PWSOTH. That's at PWSOTH, and you can follow me on Facebook as well at Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. So check me out on Twitter and check me out on Facebook as well. And you can also check me out on Patreon. I have a Patreon page, and we have exclusive Patreon only posts on the Patreon page. So feel free, go to tappedoutpod.com. That's tappedoutpod.com. See, Nick, I got it right this time. I was saying Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network.com, which is really long to type out, but Nick corrected me and said it's Tapped Out Pod, Louis. It makes it a lot easier to type. So tappedoutpod.com. And check it out. You could click on my link, and you could check out my Patreon page. I have a number of Patreon only posts on there. So you want to go ahead and check that out. And there's a new, we've uploaded a new one. It's called Pro Wrestling's Back to the Face, I Don't Care. There's this, Carmine Mozinato is back, by the way. So if you're familiar with Carmine Mozinato, he was on the Pro Wrestling Stop and Go, when the Pro Wrestling Stop and Go was a regular thing on the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network.com. There was Jumpin' Jim, McDougal, and Carmine Mozinato came along. But now Carmine Mozinato has his own show, and I have it exclusively on my Patreon page. So you want to check that out, Pro Wrestling's Back to the Face, I Don't Care, with Carmine Mozinato. And he gets he's got his own style, let's just say that. You're not going to want to miss that one, so you want to go ahead and check that out. Coming up, I got interviews. Actually, one interview has been released already. Aiden Prince. I interviewed Aiden Prince, Canadian wrestling superstar. You've seen him on Impact Wrestling. He went one-on-one with Austin Aries for the Impact Wrestling World Title on Explosion a few weeks ago. And he had other appearances as well on one-night only shows. I did an interview with him, and that's released now on the network, so you want to go ahead and check that out, tappedoutpod.com, and you could catch the interview there. Or you could catch it on my Patreon page as well. And coming up in very, very soon, and could be in a few days. Actually, I think it is in a few days. I conducted an interview with Pro Wrestling's first and only action adventure superstar. Did somebody say adventure? Stone Rockwell stopped by and had a nice little interview with Stone Rockwell. Well, not the longest interview. Stone Rockwell, it was a fun interview, but he doesn't like to do long interviews, so it was about 10 minutes long, but that's coming up on the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast as well, so you're going to want to keep an eye out for that and check that one out. Stone Rockwell on the show, and go ahead and feel free to go and listen to Aiden Prince as well. It was a great interview. Aiden Prince, young supers. Actually, I ordered an Aiden Prince shirt, and I received it this week, and very happy. There's a good bet I'm going to be wearing that shirt at the 25th anniversary show for Border City Wrestling. Speaking of which, some of the matches have been announced for that show. So let me go into that. Actually, 3 matches have been announced for that show. Main event's going to be Congo Kong, and I'm almost certain this is for the Border City Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Congo Kong is the champion, and he will be defending in a fatal 4-way against Johnny Impact, Matt Sydal, and Border City Wrestling mainstay A1. So that should be a great main event. Moose will be taking on Eddie Edwards in a street fight, and guy I was just talking about, Aiden Prince, will be teaming up with Brent Banks. They've teamed before, and that's going to be a tremendous tag team against Jake Something, who's very talented, and another very talented wrestler, Phil Atlas. So that's going to be a great match, and that's going to be a ladder match. It's going to be the first ever ladder match in Border City Wrestling history, apparently. So I'm really looking forward to that. because I'll be in the front row. And I know I've said it many times that I'll have my front row, first row VIP tickets for that event. And it's 2 weeks away, and I less than 2 weeks away, and I can't wait for it. And I know there's a big announcement coming out shortly. They're calling it a blockbuster announcement, so I'm getting very excited about that. I can't wait for this show. I really can't wait for this show. I want to meet Congo Kong. I just want to stand next to him and see how, just to see how really big the guy is. He's supposed to be enormous. As per Aiden Prince, and Aiden Prince talks about being in the ring with Congo Kong on the podcast, on the interview I had with him. And I'm looking forward to standing next to Congo Kong on October 6th, Border City Wrestling. The tickets are still available if you haven't got your tickets yet and you're in the Windsor area, or even if you're not, it's worth the trip. If you're out in London, the London area, or Kitchener, it's worth the trip to come down. And even if you're in like the Ottawa area, the 8-hour drive might be worth it for this show. Luckily, I'm only like 15 minutes away, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm already pumped up for it. All right. What do we got going here? I got my notes written down here. Okay, so some news. Oh, you know what? I want to touch upon. It's just pissing. There's more trolls. You know, I like to mention trolls. Talk about them because it's so stupid. There were a few people out there. Actually, more than a few. There's this free hat promo going on right now. Comda.com, which is a promotional company out in New York. I think it's in upstate New York, and you know they struck a deal with Impact Wrestling. They're doing all the promotional materials, and it's Comda.com presents Borders Bound for Glory. And so Comda is releasing, they've offered a free hat. So you get a free toque, or a free cap. And they offer that, and a lot of people are getting upset because the shipping is not free. And they're calling it a scam. It's not a scam. Why would you call it a scam? I don't understand. You know, you're getting the hat for free. The hat is normally $29.95, but you're getting it for free. And of course you're gonna have to pay shipping. No company in their right mind, say 100,000 people want this hat. You telling me that they're gonna ship to 100,000 people for free? I mean, you're getting the free hat. Let me just hold on. Say 100,000 people times 10. That's $1 million in shipping. I'm sorry, I had to use my calculator for that. I probably really didn't need it, but that's $1 million in shipping. Give me a break. And people are upset. They're saying it's a scam. You know, they're calling it a free hat, but no, it's, I gotta pay for shipping, so it's a scam. You know, and I got into it with a few people. It's not a scam. It's a promotional company. This is how promotional companies work. You're getting a free hat. You're getting a free, I just hit my, because I'm getting worked up, my fist went back and hit my headphones, so that's why I said oops. You probably heard a little knock there, but anyway, this is how promotional companies work. And BQ of the Impact Lounge, he pointed this out as well on Facebook. But you get the item for free, but you got to pay the shipping for it. You know, that's just how it's worked for decades and decades and decades. If you see on TV where they have, you know, buy slap chop, especially you buy one slap chop, you get one for free. Great. But you still have to pay the shipping for that. That's how all the promotional companies work. They're not going to pay for your shipping. Now, if you want to drive over to the offices of Comda.com and pick up the hats, and save on the shipping, that's great. You can do that, but don't call it a scam. Don't get upset because they're charging $10 for shipping, when the price is normally $40. That's a good deal. I ordered my hat and I happily pay the $10 for that hat. So stop whining about it. Just think of it this way. Think of it as a $10 hat with free shipping. How about that? Instead of a $40 hat, it's a $10 hat. You get $30 off and you get free shipping. Think of it that way. Don't whine and complain. And people are like saying, well, it probably costs a lot less than $10 for them to make the hat. Of course it does. They need to make a profit. Right? That's the whole idea behind successful businesses. They need to make a profit. It's stupid. You're not going to get a Bound for Glory $10 hat anywhere. If you go to Bound for Glory, you're not going to be able to get a hat for $10. Sorry. So stop whining. And well, if you don't have the money, I know people are struggling. If you don't have the $10, that's fine. I understand. I've been there. I've been through the struggle. I know what the financial struggle is all about. But don't call it a scam. Don't call it a scam. Just say, yeah, I'd like that, but at this time I'm unable to get it, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't come out. And I've seen the word scam, being thrown out a lot, and it's not a scam. It's not a scam. Anyway, and there's, and another troll, I just want to point this out. There's another troll who was complaining, when they announced that Austin Aries was defending the Impact Wrestling title in Mexico against Texano Jr. This guy complained that Austin Aries is defending his title too much. He goes, I understand you have to defend your title, but come on, you're defending it too much. This is what they're now. Nah, you know what? Nah, never mind, man. Never mind. They're resorting to anything. They're complaining that Austin Aries is defending the title too much. I guess they're used to the title defense every 13 months by Brock Lesnar. I guess that's what we're used to, and that's what they're hoping Austin Aries will do. This is defending his title too much. This is stupid. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. I'm getting worked up, man. It's mind boggling. It's mind boggling that what are they going to say? Oh, nah, never mind. Let's move on. Anyway, so let's go into defending his title too much. The guy is upset that Austin Aries is defending his title too much. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. It's just plain stupid. It's just plain stupid, man. I'm sorry. It's just dumb. It's dumb. Anyway, so let's move along. What we got? Impact Wrestling and WWE. They had a meeting. Ed Nordholm and Scott D'Amore met with the group led by Triple H. Vincey Boy apparently wasn't in on the meeting, and a lot of speculation about what the meeting was all about, and people took to social media saying, "Oh, well, looks like WWE is about to buy Impact Wrestling." They're not going to buy Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling's not for sale. Okay, we've gotten beyond that. Impact Wrestling is a thriving company right now, and they're not going to sell the promotion to the WWE. That's not happening. So just forget about that. Don't even think about it. Don't even dream about it. Right? If you think about it, just send me a text or send me a message on Twitter to apologize to me about that. But they're not selling to the WWE. The whole idea, the whole meeting, and I read it online, was, WWE apparently wants to use some of their library. I guess the Impact Wrestling video library. I guess they're probably coming out with like the best of Bobby Roode, or they want some more AJ Styles footage, or maybe Samoa Joe footage. So that's what the meeting was about. That makes sense. And Impact Wrestling looking, you always want to look to make some money, and I'm sure they license some of their footage to WWE. They can make a nice little nice little bag of money there. Nice little bag of money. And they're not gonna sell. They're not gonna. I saw. Oh, looks like they're gonna sell their entire library to the WWE. Now, if they sell the rights to it and let the WWE use their entire library on WWE network, the streaming service, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. More exposure for Impact Wrestling. It'll show just how amazing Impact Wrestling is. But I think. I mentioned AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and with Matt Hardy retiring, I'm thinking that maybe something with the Hardys, something with Matt Hardy, and they want to get more Matt Hardy footage. If they were thinking about selling, I think McMahon, Vincey Boy would have been involved in the meetings, but they're not selling. So let's figure. I even saw somebody put up a fake logo that said WWE Impact. Yeah. It's not happening. That's not gonna happen. So forget it. Forget about that. That ain't happening. WWE is not buying Impact Wrestling. You know, I'm gonna say, I was in a hotel, away for business last Monday. It was 8:00, had nothing to do. I was like, you know what? You know, let's see what's happening on the WWE. I couldn't watch it. It was bad. It was bad. And that's all I'm gonna say. I couldn't watch it. I am not a fan of the WWE. And everybody knows that. I couldn't watch it. So many things were so stupid. Bobby Roode is in a tag team now with Chad Gable. Bobby Roode, the glorious one, you know, great singles wrestler, is stuck in a tag team with a less than average wrestler, Chad Gable. And they're feuding with some, like, they're Road Warrior looking fellas. I can't remember their name, but Spuds McKenzie is now the manager of Authors of Pain. He looks totally out of place. It's bad. It was bad. Anyway, back to Impact. Impact Wrestling actually reached out to Low Key for the New York City shows, and Low Key declined. Low Key said he's loyal to Major League Wrestling. Apparently he's the champion for Major League Wrestling. And he declined, saying, because due to his loyalty to Major League Wrestling. I guess he doesn't realize that Major League Wrestling is allowing their wrestlers to work for Impact Wrestling. So it has nothing to do with loyalty. I know Low Key left due to creative differences on his last run with Impact Wrestling. So there's something else there, but he declined. You know something? I could care less, you know. Oh, so Low Key's not going to be on the New York shows? Oh, boo-hoo. Who cares? Anyway. But, you know, you got Conan, you got Sami Callihan. They all work for Major League Wrestling, but they're also working for Impact. So it has nothing to do with loyalty for Major League Wrestling. It has to do with something else, but that's cool. Low Key doesn't want to be on the shows. Hey, you know, that's one less or two less paychecks that he'll be receiving. So, we'll leave it at that. And, Andrew Everett was released from his contract. I like Andrew Everett a lot, and he was in a tremendous tag team with DJ Z&E. You know, but I don't know, I think they were on 3 episodes, and then that was it. I mean, they were a really good tag team. I don't know what they were thinking. They put them together. There was a really good tag team. They defeated Drake and Scott Steiner for the Impact Wrestling tag team titles. And they lost it to LAX, of course. But they were a good, exciting tag team. And Lord knows, you know, you can never have enough good and exciting tag teams. And Z&E were great, but they just didn't use them for some reason. And Andrew Everett asked for and was granted his release. And I'm sorry to see him go. But Andrew Everett has a good future ahead of him. I have a feeling we're going to probably see him in NXT or New Japan Pro Wrestling as a Super Junior. I think he would be fantastic out in New Japan. Hopefully he'll go to New Japan. But Andrew Everett no longer on the Impact Wrestling roster. All right. And that is it. That is it for news. Didn't miss anything. Yeah, one more time. Don't forget, coming up, my interview with Stone Rockwell, Adventure. It was a great interview. I absolutely, it was so fun talking to Stone Rockwell, and I'm really looking forward to that interview that I conducted with Mr. Rockwell. My Patreon page, I still don't have any patrons. I'm starting to get a little depressed about it. You know, everybody, you know, Nick and Myron, they have like 2 or 3. The Wrestling Dorks, they have like 2 or 3. But poor little Lewis has none. And I know Nick is getting really furious about it. And he keeps calling me up and goes, hey, it's like, you know, like I have a quota I have to meet with Nick. And he gets so upset. He's like, Lewis, you have a quota. You're not meeting your quota. You're not cutting. You're not cutting it on Patreon. What's going on? I'm like, Nick, I don't. I'm just kidding. I don't have a Nick. Nick hasn't given me a quota. I'm just kidding. But they all got patrons, and Nick just got the flagship show, Nick and Myron's show. They just got a nice little patron last week, and I still got a big fat 0. I'm going to put it out there again. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is, and I'm not going to advertise it. I'm not going to advertise it on social media. I'm not going to advertise it, well, maybe I will advertise it on social media. But I'm going to say it here first. I might not, but this is in case you're listening. If you become a patron, I will purchase, what will I purchase for you? I will purchase an Aiden Prince t-shirt. There you go. I will purchase an Aiden Prince t-shirt for you, if you become a patron, on my page. But you gotta be a patron for 6 months. So no, if you become a patron on my page, it's $1 a month. It's not going to cost you that much. I will buy you an Aiden Prince t-shirt, and I will send it out to you. There, I'm saying it right there. I could afford it now. I got a promotion, so I could afford another. I already got one. I could afford another one. So, and if you don't want an Aiden Prince t-shirt, and you want a Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, t-shirt, I could get that for you as well. So, the first patron will get a t-shirt. We'll get a t-shirt. So yeah, I'm saying it here. So if you're listening, just feel free, to follow me and become a patron on the Patreon page. And again, you can go to tappedoutpod.com, click on Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast, the Patreon link will take you there, and then you can become a patron, on my page. And, you could get, you get all my podcasts and some exclusive material as well. All right, so where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Did I speak about everything I want to speak about before I jumped into Impact Wrestling? Looking at my cards here, I did. Okay, so let's go into the show, Impact Wrestling. How are we doing for time? Oh, look at that. We're doing good for time. So let's go into Impact Wrestling. So this week, it was the first week from Mexico City, Mexico, I believe they were. And apparently it was the first time, Austin Aries was in Mexico since, I think 2005. I think that's the last time he was in Mexico. I'm looking at his thing. His last match was in Mexico. Was in 2005 for the Ring of Honor Championship against Super Crazy and Ricky Marvin. 13 years later, Austin Aries returns to Mexico. And the show was okay. I have a few questions about it, and I'm gonna talk about that. But let's start with the opening match. It was probably my favorite match of the show. Aerostar, the Radio Kid, and El Hijo de Vikingo, the son of the Viking is what it means. Taking on Sami Callihan, Jake, and Dave Christ, OVE. This was spectacular. I absolutely love this opener. From start to finish. Aerostar, Laredo Kid, and the son of the Viking. Very, very talented wrestlers. Of course, as is OVE. And we had some really, really good spots. Some awesome spots. Aerostar is just incredibly talented. A lot of there was one spot, I think it was Laredo Kid or Aerostar, one of them went on each other's shoulders on the top turnbuckle, and they did a dive. Oh yeah, it was Aerostar diving off Laredo Kid's shoulders while OVE was on the floor, and he wiped them out, which was a tremendous spot. All three of these luchadors were very, very talented. It was good to see Aerostar and Laredo Kid back in Impact Wrestling. First time I've ever seen the son of the Viking. I'm calling him that because El Hijo del Vikingo, the son of the Viking. But I've never seen him before, and I was impressed. He was really good. So this was a really good opening match. And of course OVE wins the match at heading into Bound for Glory, so they're not going to lose. So it gives them some momentum heading into Bound for Glory, getting a big win here. But I loved it, and the crowd was into it. There was a nice sized crowd in Mexico, and great stuff. Really good way to open the show. Now, match that I didn't like, I was a little disappointed in, was the main event. I don't know if people are going to disagree with me on that, but I was expecting a tremendous match, and I came away disappointed. I thought the match was uninspiring. I thought the match was slow. It just was lacking something. It was like I guess you could say it was flat. But I was disappointed. And I know Texano Jr is very, very talented, as is, of course, don't need to say anything about how talented Aries is. And I was expecting a really good match here, and I've seen some really good Texano Jr matches, but this wasn't one of them. It's almost like he was out of shape, and it looked like he was gassed midway through, and Don Callis actually pointed that out. I don't know. The crowd wasn't into it, and the spots where Aries was going to hit Texano Jr with the belt, but the referee takes the belt away, and then Texano grabs the rope, and he was going to use it. The crowd, like, you were expecting a pop from the crowd, but didn't happen. There was no pop. The crowd just wasn't into it. I was disappointed. Maybe it would have been better to have Aries against like Aerostar or Laredo Kid or something. I think we would have gotten a better match, and maybe stuck Texano Jr. into the opening match. Maybe we would have gotten a better match that way, but with Aries. But I just disappointed. I was disappointed in the main event. But anyway, Austin Aries does win the match. He hit his brainbuster on Texano Jr. for the win. But after the match, we had a little confrontation. Johnny Impact comes on, says he's not medically cleared for Bound for Glory. It talks for a bit, and then we find out that Johnny Impact is actually there, and he shows up and he attacks Austin Aries, and he takes out Moose and Kevin Cross, and Johnny Impact in the ring by himself, and then Eddie Edwards shows up with a kendo stick and attacks Cross, Moose, and Austin Aries. And that's how it ends. I thought that was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool ending. Good to see Eddie Edwards and Johnny Impact back. And Battle for Glory, it's going to be Eddie Edwards against Moose, and of course Austin Aries 1-on-1 with Johnny Impact for the Impact Wrestling World Title. But I'm loving heel Moose. I love he came out as I love the way he was dressed, just as this cocky individual. I'm loving. I think him turning heel was just a great move. I think he's really good as a heel, and I'm loving the heel Moose. I'm loving the heel Moose a lot, and I can't wait for the next upcoming weeks so I can see more of heel Moose. Great stuff. He's he's so goofy and hilarious, but that's what he's going for, right? He's just trying to piss people off, and he's doing a good job. And like I said, I'll say it again. Heel Moose, Heel Moose has got thumbs up from Lewis Carlin. All right, so we saw Fabbi Apache. Fabbi Apache. I don't know much. I don't know anything about Fabbi Apache, but apparently she's a legend in Mexico, or a AAA legend. And she went 1-on-1 with Alicia Edwards. Well, we actually saw her earlier in the show. Tessa Blanchard came in, very arrogant, and then chased away some talent, saying that some talent was sitting in her spot or something. And Fabbi Apache showed up, and they went at it verbally for a little bit. Apache was speaking Spanish. I think there was subtitles, and Blanchard was speaking English, but somehow they understood each other. But I don't know. I didn't know anything about it. I'm going to be perfectly honest here, and I'm an avid wrestling fan. I've never heard of Fabbi Apache before. The first time I've ever heard of Fabbi Apache. I mean, if we had gotten like a video package of her last week, Fabbi Apache is coming, that would have, I could have looked her up and checked on some of her past matches, which would have helped. But Fabbi Apache, against Alicia Edwards this week, and the match wasn't really. I don't see where the big deal is. I didn't see anything about Fabbi Apache that would want to make me call her a legend. Granted, it was one match, and it was against Alicia Edwards, who is not the greatest wrestler in the world. So I don't know. It's just nothing about Fabbi Apache that I saw that I want to say, oh wow, I can't wait to see next week, because she's going to 1-on-1 with Tessa Blanchard for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts title. But there was nothing about this match that made me say, wow, I can't wait to see Tessa Blanchard go 1-on-1 next week against Fabbi Apache. Wow, this is going to be so awesome. I can't wait. The match was okay. I don't know. Just the feeling I had. I don't know. I just didn't see anything at all. But she cut a promo in Spanish. They had a translator, and next week, Tessa Blanchard will defend the Knockouts title against the legend Fabbi Apache. And there's no way in hell Tessa Blanchard is going to lose the title to Fabbi Apache. I didn't read any spoilers, but that's my gut feeling. And maybe next week, I know Tessa Blanchard is much more talented than Alicia Edwards, and maybe Tessa Blanchard we'll see the best of Fabbi Apache next week, against Tessa Blanchard. But this week I don't see what the big deal is with Fabbi Apache. But anyway, let's move along. And, what do we got next here? Oh yeah, we had, actually King. King was in a squash match against, a masked wrestler called Cronus. King, there was a little segment earlier, and King said he was gonna wrestle, this week, and his opponent was Cronus, but of course Homicide and Hernandez attacked Cronus before the match, and King hits him with a backhand, and in less than 10 seconds, King wins the match, and he cuts a great promo, calling out Conan and LAX as he's trying to break that ceasefire, that's been implemented by the bosses, but Conan's not having anything to do with breaking that ceasefire. But Eddie Kingston has been just terrific. Eddie Kingston has been absolutely terrific in this latest run with Impact Wrestling. They finally got a character for him where he could really shine. And he's a great talker, a great performer, and he's doing a tremendous job here. I'm really invested in this feud, and I can't wait for their match at Bound for Glory. It's now a concrete jungle street fight, I think it's being called, but this is going to be one hell of a match. King and Homicide and Hernandez against Santana, Ortiz, and Conan. I can't wait. King and Conan are both great talkers. I know Eddie Kingston was in the DOC with Bram and James Storm, and not really working out for Eddie Kingston, but now, wow, he's on fire. He is on fire. Great stuff by King, Eddie Kingston. Great stuff. Absolutely loving it. And then after that, Santana and Ortiz are, there's a segment where they're upset and they wanna get revenge now, but Conan kind of calmed them down, and they said all in good time. If they break the ceasefire, apparently the bosses are gonna take them out permanently, as I alluded to a little earlier, but Conan was like, no, we'll wait for Bound for Glory. And I can't wait for that one. I can't wait for that match at Bound for Glory. Eli Drake comes out for his open challenge, and this week it was answered by Trevor Lee. And, I'm a fan of the Eli Drake Open Challenge. A lot of people seem to be knocking it on social media, but I am a fan of the Open Challenge, the Eli Drake's Open Challenge, because every week I'm thinking, who's it going to be? Like I think back to Sergeant Slaughter back in the early 80s, when he was doing the Cobra Clutch Challenge. He did it week after week after week until finally, Pat Patterson showed up and eventually broke out of the Cobra Clutch, and they'll set up a feud between him and Slaughter. But this is what I'm really, I hope they do this for a while. But I have a feeling that, what's going to happen is he's going to do the open challenge at Bound for Glory. And, well, not that I have a feeling. This is what I'm hoping happens. It may or may not. I shouldn't say I have a feeling, but this is what I'm hoping. That Eli Drake does the open challenge at Bound for Glory, and Chris Jericho answers it. That's what I'm hoping for. I think that would be really good. I think if they got in the ring and they went at it verbally for a bit, Jericho and Drake, I think it would be pure magic. And Chris Jericho against Eli Drake would be just a tremendous match as well. So that's what I'm hoping for at Bound for Glory. Is that going to happen? Don't know. Never say never. But unlikely, but never say never. But this week, Trevor Lee did answer the challenge, and we had a decent match. But Eli Drake does wind up winning the match. I'm not thrilled that Trevor Lee again loses a match, and he kind of looked like the schmuck again. I mean, Andrew Everett has requested and been granted his release, as I talked about earlier. I have a feeling Trevor Lee will be going that same route in asking for and being granted his release. I have a gut feeling that's going to happen soon, and it'll be a shame because Trevor Lee is so talented. I think I talk about that. I mention that every podcast. You know, Trevor Lee is so damn talented, and it'll be a shame. It'll be a shame if they let Trevor Lee go, because we all know. We all know he's going to end up somewhere. He's going to end up in, just like Andrew Everett, he's going to end up in Ring of Honor, or he's going to end up in New Japan, or he's going to end up in the WWE, and he's going to thrive there. And he's going to thrive there, and he's going to become a big star. They need to take action on Trevor Lee right freaking now. They need to take action on Trevor Lee right now. They need to get him. I would be okay. Let him step away for a few weeks. Keep him, end the cult of Lee. Have Trevor Lee come back as a standalone wrestler, and just build him up as the best X Division wrestler in the world, because I think he can be the cornerstone of the X Division. I know he can be. I know he can be the cornerstone of the X Division, and they need to give him that spot. What AJ Styles was to them, in the early days of TNA, Trevor Lee can be the Impact Wrestling today. That's how good this guy is. But they're not allowing it to happen for some reason. I don't know why. And it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame if we lose Impact Wrestling. No, if I'm gonna say if Impact Wrestling loses Trevor Lee to another promotion, it'll be a damn shame. A damn shame. We saw the return of Mackenzie Mitchell, and I touched upon it last week. Alicia Atout is so much better. I'm sorry, Mackenzie Mitchell's okay, but she's a model. She's not really a wrestling person. But Alicia Atout is so much better, and I kind of miss Alicia Atout conducting the interviews. I kind of wish she was able to get out to Mexico, or I don't know if they didn't want to pay for her ticket to fly out there, because I know she lives in Canada. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal was, but they made a mistake there. Alicia Atout, they should hire her full time and just let her be the backstage interviewer. Mackenzie Mitchell, I don't know. There's just not feeling it. I guess she just holds the mic, but Alicia Atout is so much better. Her facial expressions, when she looks threatened, or when she's confused, or when she gets upset, she's just so much better. And she has she's been interviewing professional wrestlers for so long. I really missed Alicia Atout doing the backstage interviews. I really wish that they would bring her on full time. That's my feeling on Alicia Atout. But Anyway, I think we have one more. Oh, the Desi Hit Squad. There's a Desi Hit Squad segment. They get massages, and Gama Singh comes out, and he gets very violent with them. He hits them and tries to toughen them up. And because next week, the Desi Hit Squad, they're in a match against LAX. I think it's non-title, but they're meeting LAX, and Gama Singh basically at the end of the segment shook their hands and said, good luck, as if, this is the big match, that we've all been waiting for. And next week, Desi Hit Squad against LAX, and I can't wait for that. It's going to be a tremendous encounter, next week. I'm a huge Desi Hit Squad fan. I'm actually wearing my Desi Hit Squad t-shirt right now as we speak. Love the Desi Hit Squad. And, should be a great match. I'm thinking it's non-title, and I'm thinking the Desi Hit Squad is gonna wind up pulling out a victory. I'm thinking the OGZ and King are gonna get involved somehow and distract LAX, and the Desi Hit Squad's gonna win, and it's gonna lead to a title match for them. And I think that I'm saying the Desi Hit Squad, they are going to be the Impact Wrestling Tag Team champions very, very soon. Very, very soon. So looking forward to that match next week. Should be a great one. Joe Hendry did a music video which was entertaining, about Conan, something about him being his best friend, but not his very best friend, but in the top 3, something along those lines. I had to step away for a second, so I didn't see the whole thing, so I kind of read what went down online. And apparently it was a song about Grado being not his very best friend, but in the top 3. So, which I'm gonna have to watch it again, because Joe Hendry, they need to sign Joe Hendry long term. Callis and Scott D'Amore and Ed Nordholm, they need to get together and they need to say, you know what, let's offer him like a 5-year contract. They need to get Joe Hendry under contract long term. He is so talented. I absolutely love Joe Hendry. The storyline he's in with right now with Katrina and Grado, don't really know exactly where it's going or what the payoff is going to be. I'm still waiting to see if Katrina is going to bring in some 2 new wrestlers maybe from the UK to feud with Hendry and Grado. Or if Hendry is eventually going to turn on Grado, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's just, I say let's just get there and let's move on, with Joe, because Joe Hendry is just tremendous, and I think it's time for the next program for Joe Hendry. Okay, and Abyss, save this one for, almost last. We still have one more match to talk about. Abyss going into the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. He, well deserved. He's been with Impact Wrestling since the beginning. He's one of the originals. He had the opportunity to go to the WWE and feud with The Undertaker years and years ago, but he decided to stay with Impact Wrestling. So it's well deserved for Abyss, and congratulations, Abyss, for your being inducted into the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. I kind of wish I would know why you blocked me on Twitter. I've been blocked by Abyss for some reason. I don't know why. I've never insulted him. I've never tweeted anything bad about Abyss. But for some reason I am blocked by Abyss on Twitter. Hopefully one day I can meet Abyss and I could ask him if I did anything, apologize if I ever did anything wrong. But like I said, I've never tweeted anything negative about Abyss. I mean, it's all been positive. Even, I was writing for Kayfabe today when he was teaming with Rosemary and Crazy Steve. I praised them. I thought it was terrific. And all my writings praised them. I've never tweeted anything bad about Abyss. I don't know. I mean, when he feuded with Congo Kong, I said, I did, on the podcast say that it wasn't the best match I've ever seen in my life. But I've never tweeted anything. I don't think that would be a reason why he would block me. But I'm going to find out one day. Why Abyss has me blocked. It's troublesome for me because I'm a huge fan of Abyss. There's got to be some reason why he blocked me. And he probably doesn't even know. Maybe he was an accident. He doesn't even know that I'm blocked, and I don't know. But I got nothing but praise and good things to say about Abyss. He's absolutely an Impact Wrestling legend. And again, congratulations, Abyss, for being inducted for being the 2018 inductee into the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. And one more match to discuss, and then we're going to wrap this up. Actually, next week, Scarlett Bordeaux is going to make a huge announcement. Okay. Now, hopefully it's that the smoke show has been canceled, that we won't see that anymore. Because we really haven't we've seen like maybe 2 or 3 episodes, and this not the best thing in the world. But I'm hoping she makes an announcement that she will be returning to the ring, or she will be making her Impact Wrestling in-ring debut shortly. So let's see what happens next week with that huge announcement. Then we had the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr and Fenix, going up against and who I think are going to be Bound for Glory opponents, Matt Sydal and Rich Swann. And this was a great match. This was a good match between all 4 men. All 4 men are so talented. Rich Swann is so smooth. He is so damn good, Rich Swann. As is Fenix and Pentagon Jr. and Matt Sydal, but Rich Swann he's just smooth. And the crowd was just into Pentagon Jr. and Fenix. This was a great match. I would say a very close second to the opening match, but in the end it was Pentagon Jr. and Fenix defeating Matt Sydal and Rich Swann. Fenix he pins Swann. Blackfire Driver, I think it's called. I think I read that it was called the Blackfire Driver, and he gets the win. And I'm thinking next week Sydal is gonna be upset that Swann cost him the match, and he's gonna attack Swann. And we're getting Matt Sydal against Rich Swann at Bound for Glory. That's my gut feeling, and they're leading up to that, and I'm looking forward to it. It should be a great match between the two. But on this day, Pentagon Jr. and Fenix, they were the better team, and there was some really fun spots. Fenix, he's just so talented. Speaking of locking people up, I know I mentioned Joe Hendry. They should lock up Pentagon Jr. and Fenix to long-term contracts. I would love to see them in Impact Wrestling for the next couple of years, but they should definitely lock these guys up for long term. Let them continue with Lucha Underground and Major League Wrestling and wherever they want to go, AAA. But just get them under contract with Impact Wrestling. They're just so good. So good. And after the match was over, of course, OVE, they surround the ring. And it's Pentagon and Fenix. They're outnumbered 3-2, but here comes Brian Cage, jumps into the ring to even the score, even the odds, and OVE they take off. They're having no part of it. It would have been cool if OVE jumped in the ring and we had a little brawl between all 6 men, but OVE decided to take off. And that's it. That was it. And next week should be a really good show. Should be a really good show next week. Let me pull up the matches here. Next week we have, like I mentioned, Fabbi Apache versus Tessa Blanchard for the Impact Knockouts title. I'm hoping to see a better performance from Fabbi Apache next week. If anyone could bring out the best in her, it's definitely Tessa Blanchard. Desi Hit Squad, as I mentioned, against LAX, which should be a tremendous match. Brian Cage goes up against Jake Christ, which should be outstanding. And then we have Ali and Kiera Hogan versus Sue Young and the Undead Maid of Honor. I still am convinced that Kiera Hogan is going to eventually turn on Ali. I'm convinced it's going to happen, and she's going to become one of the Undead Brides. So that's my prediction. It's going to happen. And Rosemary we'll see soon. Rosemary will be back soon. I know she's recovering from injury, and I'm looking forward to Rosemary returning soon. Maybe Sue Young will, Kiera Hogan will be trapped under the spell of Sue Young, and Rosemary and Ali have to save Kiera Hogan. That would be a decent storyline. a decent storyline. But I'm still convinced it's something with Kiera Hogan is going to happen with Ali. But we'll keep our eyes on that, and that remains to be seen. And that's it. And that's it for me. Don't forget, coming up, my interview with Stone Rockwell. By the time this hits Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network, it might already be out. But my interview with Stone Rockwell, will be available. Don't forget to check out my interview with, Aiden Prince, which is out as well. And I have some more really cool interviews coming up, in the near future. So, until next time, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Take care. My name is Louis Carlin. This is the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast, the Impact Wrestling Edition. And until next time, thank you very much, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. And as always, stay safe. Bye-bye.